put an ear plug?
Never used a cotton bud.
Don't. It's so addictive. It is genuinely addictive.
To be honest, I never even knew what they were for.
You must have monkey lugs.
Well, more worryingly, whoever wears those earphones next is going to be devastated.
It's not like there's stuff pouring out of my ears on a daily basis.
Ooh, grotesque. We'll stick another tune on, and then we'll come back. We have a kind of Q&A that we have to ask all of our guests, so we'll be asking you to react to it instinctively and try and get a little bit deeper under the skin of Scroobius Pip after this. 1967, The Small Faces, of course, and Itchy Park. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my little gang here. We're talking to Scroobius Pip, and we've just heard some classic spoken words. Sometimes I choose not to use the English language. I just, feel very much that words are my tool, and that, like Shakespeare, I can invent my own words. And yeah, thank you very much. Before we play a tune from your album, it's called Angles.
Angles, yes.
Yes. I almost said Angels after you told me specifically it was Angles.
For Angels, but it is in fact called Angles.
Any reason for that?
Just because the name we had for it was stolen by a band called Pete and the Pirates, and their album was coming out before us. But then we, one of the tracks on the album is called Angles, and it just seemed to fit because the album does just talk about a lot of different subjects from many different angles.
Sure. Now then, we have this little Q&A that we've put together, and it's revealed some interesting things about people in the past. So I'm just going to fire these questions at you, and just react instinctively. Go with your first thought. Yes. Okay, first up, Scroob, what would you ban?
Smoking more. Just really ban it everywhere, out in the public as well.
Even more banning smoking?
More, not about the smoke, but just about the reaction that the smoking ban got, and then the anger of the smokers. I get a sick pleasure out of it.
You just like banning stuff?
Just particularly smoking.
Just ban some other stuff.
Imagine what they'd say, and still keep it allowed, like in the House of Parliament, as they have, or whatever, or in their little bar, still keep it legal there. So
sure.
Furious.
People can just queue up to get in there.
Yeah.
What advice would you give the teenage Scroobius?
Start growing a beard earlier. I said as soon as I got this thing, this all started happening. Career, all went from there.
Does the beard? Because the beard must attract quite a specific woman, I imagine.
Yeah,
because it probably alienates far more. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Thank Christ.
But it probably alienated more than it did attract.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Hopefully, I'm trying to break down some walls for other bearded men out there, so it's not such a taboo.
ZZ Top were the pioneers.
Yeah.
And
it's not. I have food in it. I regularly shampoo and condition it. It smells nice. It's soft to the touch. It's like touching a cloud, albeit a black cloud. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Can you just touch the beard just to check that's true, Sammy?
Confirm.
Well, that's really nice, actually. That's a good beard.
Would you advise other teenagers, you've advised your teenage self, what about other teenagers to grow beards? We've got a lot of younger listeners. Do you find that has it been generally beneficial, or have people at times said, haha, beardy, and pulled it a laugh?
I mean, after all, I live in Essex, and I don't think any level of success would stop the shouts of beardy as I walk down the street. It's very awkward when you get a hoot on the horn and you're not sure if it's someone who's recognised from the spoken word work and the other, the music that we've done, or someone who's just noticed I have a large beard and it's kind of inappropriate for on the streets.
I
should be kept inside.
Oi, beardy. Even if you'd made your name as the greatest beard grower in the world, you had saved millions of lives.
But Beardy said it's accurate. To be fair, it's accurate. I can't fault it. It's not an inaccurate shout.
It must be the same for you, Steve, because you're very, very tall, but you're also quite famous, and people shout at you for both reasons. And again, you can never be quite sure whether they're just mocking your height or praising your fame.
I used to be able to avoid it, so if I just heard, hey, look at that lanky geek, I'd have thought they're probably not talking about me, and moved on. But now it's, hey, look at that lanky geek, it's Steve Merchant off the telly. And there's no denying that they definitely mean me.
You see, I constantly have the awkward thing, like, I was walking in Leon C recently, I don't know why I had to put the name in, but it seems relevant, and some lads walking on going, Dan Lessac. And it was awkward because I can't turn around because I'm not Dan Lessac, but they have got the right. I am who they think I am, but I'm not. So it just turned awkward because they followed for about 5 minutes, and it was this awkward kind of just walking along. But it looked rude.
I know what you mean. The one I find awkward is, are you famous? Because I think by asking that question, you've answered it at the same time. But also that if you go, well, yeah, I am. That's terribly arrogant. And if you don't, it just seems rude. And so I don't know what to do. I normally just run away.
Do I know you from somewhere? I get an awful lot. It's like, well, I don't know what to say because it's like probably not. No. Let's leave it at that.
I've had, are you somebody?
Are you somebody? Wow.
A charity event that I went to. Are you somebody? Are you somebody? I thought,
I've
well,
had-
that's got us all thinking, hasn't it?
I've had. Oh, I love that. I love extras. I'm your biggest fan. What's your name again? Extraordinary.
But it's heartbreaking, I'd imagine, for your
gutting.
biggest fans to have such a situation like that.
So hang on. Let's get back to these questions. What would you like to apologise for?
I'm not. To say I'm not big on apologise. Just anything that I've done that's wrong. I feel it's fine to apologise, but I don't like to apologise for things that people perceive as wrong that I still feel is completely correct.
So what is there something that you've done that you would think is perfectly okay, but you know other people poo-poo it?
I don't know. I can't think of anything that springs to mind immediately. A lot of
A
people.
hit and run drive by.
Again, purely by shouting "Oi, Beardy." I think you open yourself
Exactly,
up. Shout "Oi, Beardy" to someone driving a van.
Yeah.
when you're
While drunk.
yeah, it's just not. It's not a good setup.
If you could jump into any film and live the life depicted in that film, what film would you choose?
I'd probably jump into Say Anything, starring John Cusack.
Would you be
playing the
Cusack?
role of Lloyd Dobler? Yeah, I'd love to be Lloyd Dobler. The guy's a legend. To know Lloyd Dobler is to love Lloyd Dobler. Was the tagline on the poster, which, you know, what better life could you have?
Two key things about that film, of course. One is that I believe he's a kickboxer.
Yep, he done kickboxing.
Something that you can relate to.
I've not done any kickboxing at all.
So that would be
I'd
a good
like
way to feel a bit closer to him.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I could go with that. I'm more of a grappler myself, but I'd like to develop my kickboxing skills.
And he holds up a stereo at some point. And does he play Peter Gabriel?
Yeah, I believe so. I do have an almost identical a ghetto blaster in my house. So all I'm missing is a Peter Gabriel tape, and I'm there.
We can sort that out for you. And finally, what wakes you up in a cold sweat? Any kind of recurring nightmares?
No, just generally sleeping on tour buses always wakes me up petrified, because the slightest bump when it's waking you makes you think you're literally about to die. And I'll often
We've hit
just
another
wake up
pedestrian.
panicked and run to the front really with no real reason, and the driver will, I'll have to play it down and be like, just come and see if you're alright and that, and you've got something short to. It's like not saying I'm petrified, I'm sweating, I've gone pale under this beard.
Because it's not very rock and roll, is it, to be that scared?
It's not very rock and roll to be that scared, but yeah, it happens.
Listen, thank you very much indeed. Can you hang around, because we're going to cast aspersions to about 3 records later. We normally listen to 3 tunes and cast a verdict on them. Would you be happy to hang
Yeah,
around
I'd love
and
to.
do that? You're right. Okay, but in the meantime, let's play a tune from Angles. We've played it before, and I'm sure people have heard it, but it's always worth listening to again. Letter from God to Man. From the album Angles, that's Dan Lassac versus Scroobius Pip and Letter from God to Man. Scroob will hang around in the studio, but we'll play a trail and we're back with a choice from Rufus. How confident do you feel about introducing your musical choice in the style of Steve Lamacq?
I was only if you said that, Steve. Reasonably confident is the answer.
We should bear in mind that it's a work in progress.
It is very much. Listeners shouldn't think this is a kind of, this is set in stone, this impression at all. It's not. It's a very early
It's a
draft.
peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a track today called If Not For You by George Harrison. It's a cover of Bob Dylan tune.
No, it's not in
It
place.
sounds more like Gary Crowley.
It did a little bit sound like Crowley, actually. Maybe I should work my way through the 6 music presenters.
Earlier it was a lot better than that.
It was, wasn't it?
I think
I'm
now it's
always
got
better
to
off
be.
I've just heard him.
Right.
But if we can...
Yeah, don't worry, we don't want to rush anything.
Yeah.
We know it took many years to get the Mandela down.
Well, that did take a very, very long time.
And it's going to
now
take
that has-
years. It's going to take years to undo all the offence that you caused with that as well. Okay, so what have you got for us?
But it's a George Harrison track covering Bob Dylan, and this is very much in the light of my recent nuptials. Married for 7 days now, and this is If Not For You by George Harrison.
Rufus's musical choice on this week's Steve Show. What was it, Ruf?
Steve, it was a track from George Harrison's first solo album, All Things Must Pass, released in 1970, and that was a cover of Bob Dylan's tune If Not For You.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll be back after the news, delving into the pigeonhole, giving our verdict on the recent Oasis single and the new one from Keane. Look forward to that. Back after the news.
On digital, online.
Elastica, of course, and Connection. Steve Show, 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant. Fast approaching the end of the show. Scroobius Pip has been our guest today. Question here on the text. It says, Steve, can you ask Pip if he will make any more episodes of his TV show or his show? What's the story?
I did a little a video, a webcast thing, like a 4 or 5 part thing, and it was just to show how I live in a small town as opposed to in London, so I have to find other things to do. So I made a Cribs, but then also did just different contests set to a background of metal music. So during A Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth, I saw how many origami pigs I could make in that time, and I had a Sudoku, and during Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power, I saw how much I could complete of that Sudoku. I also did a ham and chicken sandwich making contest, again to Megadeth, I believe. But
These are very much contests with yourself, are they?
they were just with myself. Yeah, it's just time. It's just time trials. It's simple. It's
There's nothing more special, just time trials, people.
You know, anyone can challenge me. As I said, I've got most of them on the MySpace and that. But yeah, they're just good to test yourself when you've got a boring life.
I think this is a great way to just promote the rock and roll life for a lot of young people out there who are thinking maybe they should study in their exams, work hard, try and get a job in the city. No, just write some poetry.
It's good with the Cribs. A lot of people look and go, that can't really be your house, because, as I make clear, it's my mum's house. But yeah, no, I still live in my bedroom.
live with
in
your mum?
Stamford. Yes, I live with my mum in my bedroom in Stamford. It's all right. You know, I've got my own life. I don't have to be home for dinner or anything. There's no boundaries. I can do what I want. I can bring people home, or
within reason.
stay out as late as I like.
What time's she picking you up from here?
She's outside now.
You wouldn't let her come in because you don't want to embarrass yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, well, listen, thank you for hanging around, because what we normally do is we don't really have much to talk about in the last 20 minutes. So what we do is we play some big new singles and give our verdict on them. Sometimes it's interesting. Generally, it just fills up time. So I'm actually quite looking forward to this, because I've not heard it yet. This is the forthcoming single from Oasis, released at the end of September, and it's the Shock of the Lightning. So we'll play it, see what you think.
BBC Six Music, Steve and Matt at the round table. We're going to be asking opinions of the songs as we go around the table. Steve, over to you.
Oh, it's
getting better.
It's not
It is
bad.
getting better.
It's not bad
at all.
Yeah, no, it's shaping up. Yeah, that's obviously Oasis, Shock of the Lightning, from their forthcoming album Dig Out Your Soul, which is released October the 6th. And there we are. Sammy, how tiny were you when Oasis first appeaed? Did you exist?
Minuscule. I don't know. When did they first appear?
What was it, how, 94?
Yeah.
No, it was
8.
before then, wasn't it?
Was it?
No, it wasn't. 94.
I was 8 in 1994. I can remember them happening. I was more fixated on Pulp and Blur at the time.
Ooh, blimey.
At least it wasn't Aqua or the Spice Girls. It's Oasis keep doing this to me. They keep building me up and letting me down. The last few things have been quite good. The thing with the Chemical Brothers got me excited. It whet my appetite for a new album, and then I've just kind of deflated like a sad old balloon. I'm not sure. There was a nice, powerfully drummy bit near the end, which got my juices flowing, and I had one of my pet gripes, which was the chorus not being as powerful as the verse. You're supposed to build up and then release, and not do it the other way around, because I get groggy.
There's a reference in passing to Magical Mystery Tour. Do you think that the obsession with the Beatles and so on, has it worn out its welcome hair?
Yeah. It's Oasis, isn't it? Didn't the Beatles, progress? Didn't they start out as like a little garage band and then become something spectacular and go off and do loads of weird and wonderful things? Whatever. This could come off any Oasis album. It's enjoyable. It is what it is. Nice Back to the Future reference. Love is a time machine up on the silver screen. I thought maybe there's a DeLorean in the video. I don't know, but nah, that was just bland as hell, wasn't it?
Harsh words from Harry. Do you echo those, Rufus?
Yeah, I think, as Harry's saying, that the Beatles really progressed, and to think that the only kind of time when Gallagher stuck his head above the parapet to talk about the music industry is slamming Jay-Z's appearance at Glastonbury. It's like, oh god, there really isn't anything exciting or relevant about you anymore. And Love is a Litany, I'm still trying to work out what Love is a Litany means, and I will for the rest of the afternoon. But it didn't have any effect on me at all, that song, really.
Scroobius Pip is with us. Have you ever been an Oasis fan?
When they came out, I really enjoyed them. But again, it's the same thing, that it doesn't seem to develop that much kind of thing. It's Oasis by numbers, which for half the audience that'll be a compliment, and for the other half that'll be a put down. And it's as simple as that, really. It's very much what they do.
But is progression in music, is that so important?